There are also people who are pro-life, who are lawyers, who I've talked to over the past several days. It says this is the worst precedent they could imagine. They say, what happens when New York State decides to ban handguns and do it in a way where it's not enforced by an attorney general, but if your neighbor sees you with a handgun, they can get you fined $10,000, et cetera, et cetera. Imagine what the right would do in that case. And that's why you're hearing more of a muted response from the right on this, because they know that it's that whether you're a conservative or a liberal, this is unconstitutional. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why those 5 justices not only put the court, but put the country in this place. Again, let's slow this down for a second. Let's think about this for a second. In one of the largest states in America, a constitutional right that 70% of Americans don't want overturned. That only 28, 29, 30%, if you've been looking at the polls over the past 30 years, want overturned. That constitutional right has been taken away in the state of Texas based on procedure. That's bizarre. It's dangerous. And the president, it's just god-awful. I would love to know what the 5 justices thought, who said, yeah, you know what, we're going to just take away a constitutional right based on procedure.
Yeah, 3 of them appointed by Donald Trump. And Jonathan, as you know, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, Democrats don't like this law, but this is a fight they're happy to have. If this is the fight over abortion, and they can point to a $10,000 citizen bounty, neighbor versus neighbor, they like their chances in that fight.
Sure, it's a political issue. I think their hands are somewhat tied legally. We've heard a little bit about what the Department of Justice will try to do. They'll offer protections for the women there, the reproductive clinics in Texas, so on. And there's certainly concerns that similar legislation will be passed in other states, particularly those down south. But this is going to be something that Democrats hope becomes an animating issue for next fall, for those midterms. And Anna's right to draw the parallel to voting rights. White House aides I've talked the last couple of days say the same thing, that they know there's real anger on the left. There's real passion on the left on both of these issues. There's a limit to what they can do. The president will go out and speak about it. Of course, he'll deliver speeches. There'll be things around the margins they'll try, but unless that filibuster goes away, and there seems like there's very little appetite for that to happen, certainly among a number of Democrats, that they're not going to be able to get things done on Capitol Hill. This is going to become a political issue. It's going to be one they hope rallies the base next fall as they try to keep control of both houses of Congress, which is an uphill climb when you're president of your party's in office.
Does anybody think this will be enforced? Does anybody think a vigilante?
Can you imagine?
I mean, and if a vigilante does turn in a 16-year-old girl who's been raped and is getting an abortion, does anybody really think that the court system in this country is going to penalize a 16-year-old girl who's been raped, who's going to get an abortion? I mean, let's play this out. This is just so heinous. I can't believe that if you follow through on this, Willie, or Jonathan, or Mika, that they're going to move forward on it, because it will blow up in their faces immediately.
You would think.
That day.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine, and I do think you're right. We've heard very little from Republicans actually coming out in favor and support of this.
Right.
Like, there's been a lot of the big national figures have been, including those who hail from the state of Texas, have stayed largely silent on this because they know, we assume, the risks that are involved.